Hello, all of you vaingloriously wonderful people. This is the Dinka Blista Kanjo, and I'm about to find out if it'll off-road. This vehicle, well, I don't think anybody voted for it. I just chose to do it because, well, the votes were really light this week, so I just chose two vehicles that I wanted to test. But you can vote for the vehicles you want to see by clicking on the link in the description down below. And yeah, you know, it's a shame that the Arctic can't be raced. I think because of that, a lot of people miss out on a really great car. And I want to talk about something briefly. And at the outset, I want to say I have nothing but the utmost respect for the testing that Bruffy does with his lap time and top speed testing. However, with that said, I think that sometimes people watch his videos and get the impression that a car is no good and not worth having at all if they're not either the fastest in a straight line or the fastest around the lap. And sadly, that's not true. And the Ardent is a perfect example. It is a fantastic car. It's a great car to own, and it's one that I love owning. And I think a lot of people miss out on it because they see that, you know, in lap time testing, it can't be raced in top speed, wherever it falls in top speed, don't know. And I would caution you against, you know, using just racing results to determine if you should buy a car or not. If that's all you care about in GTA Online is racing, then by all means, that's the only thing you should consider are lap times and top speed. God, look at the Kanjo, almost there. Speaking of all things to consider, yeah, also don't consider whether or not they just off-road or not, unless that's the only thing you care about. You know, it's kind of the, if all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail type situation. You know, if all you do is race, you only look at things through that lens of racing. If all you do is off-roading, then you only look through the lens of off-roading. Me, I do it all in GTA. So yes, I go to Bruffy's videos and I watch them to inform me what I should be racing with. But I ignore his advice when it comes to what I should just buy to have in my car collection, because maybe I like the way it drives, or sometimes I just like the way a car looks. I own a ton of cars, a freaking ton of cars that aren't particularly good to drive, but I love their looks, so I have them, you know, and I enjoy having them, and occasionally I will, you know, get them out to drive them, even though they're pretty terrible. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to get that off my chest there, mainly because I have a lot of time to talk about other stuff than the Blista Kanjo, trust me. You can tell it's struggling here quite a bit. Front-wheel drive cars always struggle right here, and in the other steeper sections of the course. The Kanjo especially, because I mean this thing is nothing but front wheel spin in first gear. Even on perfectly dry, flat pavement, it's just wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin, wheel spin. Trying to get some traction in reverse to see if it can't finally get moving somewhere. But being off in the grass a little bit, almost hit Schwinn. It wasn't working, but I do manage to find grip, and we're just going to pretend that we're going forward. Schwinn did sort of, kind of get his Kanjo up going forward. I didn't see what that meant, but he mentioned while we were doing this, he said I got it up going the proper direction. Well, kind of. So I'm not sure what well kind of means. Gosh, there's that. See, there's the thing with this car, is that wheel spin. And of course, we've talked about this many times. But if your wheels are spinning, in this case the front wheels, that means that they're not getting any traction, which means you also lose your steering. Because the wheels are just spinning, and that friction needs to be used both to propel the car forward and to steer. And if it's not there, oh, hello, hiker. If it's not there, then, you know, the car struggles, and this car struggles a lot. And that's what causes the front end to just, you know, kind of go wherever it wants to go. But we're out of most of the really steep sections. Now it's just a matter of staying out of the bushes. Because the bushes do slow down a lot of the newer cars, like just stop them dead. But also sections like this, just modulating the throttle. And yeah, on that very first climb, I was modulating the throttle to try to find a place where there wasn't wheel spin on that first steep section. Ooh, that was rough. Sadly, there was not a place where you could give it enough throttle that it would move forward, but not spin its wheels. If you were moving forward, it was spinning its wheels in that first choice seat bit. Here in some of the easier climbs, I'm finding it much simpler to find that kind of sweet spot where the wheels aren't spinning so much that I just start sliding backwards and lose my forward momentum. But because of that, I also can't get a lot of speed built up. By the way, for the people who love to comment, well, if you weren't flying up the mountain, that wouldn't have happened. Well, then what's the whole point of having a fucking timer? I mean, come on. I mean, let's be honest here. You know, yeah, we want to get the cars up the mountain as fast as possible. And I think you're entirely missing the point when a mistake happens due to speed as to what we're doing here. If you missed that point, well, I'm not going to try to explain it again. Commander is Blista nearly passing me. I think he's getting a little impatient back there, or he's just tired of being enveloped by a giant cloud of dust that the Kanjo is kicking up. But yeah, we're almost there. But again, the wheel spin and the lack of being able to steer, problems. I didn't even bother trying it a second time. Instead, I'm just going to back up to the granny spot back here and get a run at it. You know, it's all you can do. We're already at 6 minutes, so, you know, why not add a little more time to it? Yeah, technically, we're going to ding here in a minute and say this thing can't off-road, but obviously you don't ever want to take this car off-roading. This was unpleasant, though I love the Kanjo. But we are finally up. 6 minutes, 35 seconds. So will it off-road? Yeah, like I said, take that with a grain of salt. Ignore the laser firing off, or I guess the pulse gun firing off to the side. Taco's Potatoes managed to get his Outlaw wedged into the building, like his front right wheel was like glitched into the building when we were trying to get it out of there through any means possible. We did eventually get him out, and he was able to continue on his way. So, heading back down, the Kanjo has really good brakes. So, to the point that I maybe went a little too slow because I was worried about it not having good brakes, but it turns out it stops really well. So I didn't have anything to worry about, and I really realized that after the fact. I think I do eventually pick up a little bit of speed. By the way, I just want to point out that we had quite a few people this week for Will It Off-Road in the lobby when we recorded, and you can join us. You can be a part of recording Will It Off-Road. There's only 3 requirements. 1, you need to be a PC player of GTA Online, because we do this recording all on PC. 2, you need to be a member of the Vainglorious Discord server, so the link to that is in the description down below. And 3, you need to realize that it's not about you being in the video, it's about you hanging out with friends while we make a video. And by that I mean, you know, you gotta stay mostly behind me, because the car I'm testing is the reason the video is being done. It's not about me, it's about the car. You know, something like, ooh, you can't pass me, nothing like that. But you can't. You stay behind the car that, you know, we're recording, and try not to hit that car, though on the damage descent, kind of all bets are off. You don't intentionally hit the car we're recording, but hits do happen quite a bit. Though I think, as you're going to see here later in the video, I think maybe I was being targeted by a certain someone. I'm not naming any Taco Potatoes names, but you know, just saying, it may have happened. Yeah, I do finally pick up a little bit more speed, though here in a second, that speed's not really going to have been the best of ideas, because I forget about the horrible, tragic understeer this car also suffers. And there it is, and managed to get the back end on around too. So coming back around, poor Commander has to keep stopping just to wait on me. And barely clipped the tree of mini crashes. Haven't seen that tree in a while. I mean, we see it every video, but we haven't seen contact with it. Managed to take out 2 windows in the back, and it's not even the damage descent yet. But working my way on back down to some asphalt, or maybe this thing will do slightly better, but yeah, it turns out not really. But don't get me wrong, I absolutely adore this little car. I'm so glad I own it. I'm so glad it was finally released. It's just a fun little car to have. even if it's not particularly good at anything, and that kind of goes back to the point I was talking about at the very beginning of the video, it doesn't have to be good in terms of performance to be a good car. And by the way, that time of 6 minutes 35 seconds up the mountain makes it 5th in compacts, 2.5 seconds slower than the regular Blista, but 4 seconds faster than an ASBO. So that's saying something. It is 234th overall out of 268 vehicles. It's a second slower than the Chiliad. Let that sink in for a minute. And again, it all comes down to that wheel spin. That's what slower than Chiliad. As we go down, we've lost the trunk. It looks like maybe we've lost the bumper too, but have we? I've seen other orange parts other than my trunk there, but I don't know, maybe I've overlooked something, because I know that in my damage list I only have the trunk missing, but I just saw another orange part there. I mean, it looks like the rear bumper's in place. Yeah, it is. The rear bumper's still there. And I'm pretty sure the front bumper's still connected. Yeah, there's a good quick look at it, and indeed it is. So I'm not sure what that other orange part was that I saw, unless the tailgate slash trunk split into 2 pieces. I don't think it does, though. Oh, ow. That helped through the tunnel there a little bit. Oh, there it is. Gee. I wonder what he was thinking. Yeah, huge payback. That's exactly what I said as I did it. But then immediately, yeah, it's fine, though. It's the damage descent. It's not encouraged, but not an offense either, you know. It's fine. Though this hit caused me to spin out, and I completely missed my turn. But the times don't really matter on the control descent. I just have the timer there and get some chickens. Commander Hobo in the way, but we're down 1 minute 57 seconds. Let's take a look at the damage on the Kanjo. All the windows and most of the lights go on. The trunk is missing, and the doors won't close. And of course, we'll shoot over to some shots of the support vehicles and check out Commander's Blista from both front and back. Yeah, beat up quite badly, but that is going to bring us to our next vehicle, the Progen PR4. And what a strange mixture of vehicles I chose this week. Again, it didn't get any votes. Next week will be Will It Offroad at the races, so there won't be any voting for that week. So that gives you guys 2 whole weeks to get some votes going here. And I would really appreciate it if you would do so, because I know I'm testing what you want to see, and I'm not just having to guess. But I figured with this one, you know, Blista Kanjo PR4, both popular YouTube search terms, why not? And to reference that comment that Donkey made with the minimalist counter, it's not that I did that intentionally. It's just when I went to render out the video, Adobe kept running into the problems that when the video's created in layers, like the video of the recording is on the bottom, you know, and then on top of that's the little blue bar with translucent look to it, and then on top of that's the counter. And that layer where the blue bars and the translucent video is also where like the pictures of support vehicles go. They go in that layer, and a few other things wind up in that layer as well. And those were all missing from last week's video. That's because Adobe just refused to render it with that layer in there. And I just didn't have time with all the other projects that I'm working on to go back and re-edit the whole video from scratch to start all over. Because when Adobe runs into those problems, that's all you can really do, is either leave it out or re-edit the whole video and save it as a different file. I just didn't have time to do it, to get the video uploaded by Monday, so chose just to leave them out. So that's why last week's World Offroad looked a little bit different. Adobe just does weird things sometimes. Speaking of weird things, PR4 is weird, and I love it. It has physics unlike any other vehicle in the game. Granted, it has no business being on a mountain. It's Formula 1 car, for God's sakes. I mean, it's low to the ground, so you would never take it off-roading because a puddle would drown you. It can't go up and over the little reflector thingies on the highway without flipping over, so rocks are obviously a no-go. Clearly a small bush brings it to a dead stop. So, yeah, this was just, you know, because I wanted to see how it would do. Honestly, I think if I had a little bit more seat time in this car, I could have gotten used to some of its quirks and maybe gotten it up the mountain a little bit quicker, knowing some of the obstacles to avoid. Oh, hi Schvinn. That's my car Schvinn just ran me over, and I'm in Schvinn's car. At the time we recorded the video, ooh, spoilers, that's going to be a problem. At the time we recorded the video, I had not yet won the PR4. I have now. Yeah, so these are the type of issues I'm talking about that had I known it was going to be a problem, I think we could have gotten a better time. We could have gotten like a 240 something out of this car, which is good. 240 is good. Only 27 off of the top cars. But we ran into a lot of problems here. And I decided not to re-record it because it's the nature of this car that's causing me to have issues right here. But we're finally up in 3 minutes and 9 seconds. So will it off-road? Yeah, ignore that ding, ignore that yes. No! Of course it won't. It won't off-road. It's a Formula 1 car. But by default, that means it's first place in open wheel racers because it's the only one from that class I've tested. But it is 126th overall. Came in just a few tenths of a second slower than a Nightshade, and just a few tenths of a second faster than a Sand King XL. So that's the company it keeps when it comes to going up and down a mountain. But again, how a vehicle does on this mountain is not indicative of its overall performance whatsoever. As we've seen many, many times, as my phone just went ding, I think. It's an issue that, or not an issue, but several issues that come into play with cars on the mountain that we've discussed several times over. One of which is weather, which I tend to try to avoid, but I was already most of the way down. I thought I could beat the puddles before the rain got harder. I don't know if you've spotted it yet, but there are a few raindrops beginning to fall. And they're just going to pick up more and more and more here. Probably should have just called it and went back down, but decided not to. I figured, I've already lost the rear spoiler. As you can see, that is having an impact because both the front and rear spoiler on the PR4 impact its traction. So the rear spoiler is going to keep the back wheels in line, keep them spinning out. That front spoiler is going to keep the front wheels pushed down so you can turn in nicely, and that the nose won't lift. Thankfully, I do still have that front spoiler. I think this would be a lot more difficult without it, especially these jumps. I think that front end would want to lift up, and overall bumps, the front end would want to lift up. But since we've got all that downforce in the front, we're not fighting that, so I can still turn. But I have to be really careful coming out of those corners of the back wheels. I'm losing grip and I wind up in an oversteer situation. Not to say it doesn't happen, though, and I might wind up in a ditch. Because, yeah, it is now very wet. Very, very wet. I'm doing my best to keep it under control. Doing fine for right now, you know, given the circumstances of this car in the wet without a spoiler. But then, yeah, had an issue there, and that's not the only issue I run into. Definitely too much gas and right into the ditch. I just have no grip on those back wheels right now. None. I mean, if you own this car, you already know that losing that rear spoiler can make the back wheels super slippery. But now that it's raining, it's even more so. I mean, I can't even get hard on the throttle at all. Because look at that. Even at that low speed coming around that corner, I'm having to fight the car to keep it from spinning around on me. But we are finally down 2 minutes, 44 seconds as Commander goes flying over in his gesture. But we're back at the top. The sun came out. The spoiler's still missing, however. Of course it is, because that's just the way we do. Tried to do the boost off there to get a really nice jump, but didn't really do much. Honestly, it didn't do much at all. Look how much farther ahead. Who is it up there? Commander. That's how much farther he is ahead in his all-wheel drive car. Everybody's ahead of me at this point. I'll catch up, but I keep trying to hit the boost anywhere I can, but it immediately, the second one of the wheels lifts off the ground, the boost stops. Ooh, that little, not high send, I don't know what you call that. But the front and back are stuck a little bit there. So anytime my wheels are on the ground, And I think I can try the boost. I do, but it doesn't work for me. Interestingly enough, though, as hard as it's hitting, I'm not really losing that many body points. But now I'm high-sitting on the rock. So I just kind of, you know, wiggled around for a minute until it spun, and eventually, there's somebody's hood. Then I finally fell off the rock, back onto the ground, and now to play catch-up with everybody else who's way ahead of me again. I think Commander was waiting to see if I needed help. There's that lack of spoiler coming into play, that back end coming right around on me. Still, though, this PR4, oh, so good. So exciting. $3.5 million, though. So glad I won it on the lucky wheel. And it only took me an undisclosed number of spins to do so. Up and over Commander is a nice little ramp onto Sven, who's driving my own car, and nearly carried me into the tunnel, and wow, quite the melee there. Yeah, there we go. Got through, hit the boost. Again, it doesn't really do anything with these lower speeds. It's pretty much just a top speed thing. Straight, give you a few more miles an hour. Hit him again, though. It may be a bit of a mistake because the car goes spinning everywhere. Use somebody else as a little barrier, but we're down in 1 minute 59, almost 2 minutes flat. Interesting look, Commander. And we will take a look at the damage, and it's just the rear spoiler and wheels. And that's it. Everything else stayed on. So we'll take a look at the support vehicles. I just saw Raven stuck over there in the wood pile. There's a couple other support vehicles. Tacos hadn't yet made it down, but he did make it for this picture. And his Sand King that did have a four-wheeler that was in the back of it that Keegan's down. Anyways, that's going to do it for this week's Will It Off-Road. Don't forget to go vote for the vehicles you want to see in upcoming Will It Off-Road videos while Sven assaults some pedestrians in the background. And until next time, I'm Brandon, reminding you to stay vainglorious.